Hello, this is a Pacesetter training video in a series of videos for using Sketch within Xactimate. This particular video is going to be a little bit shorter. It's going to be dealing with how to create and use levels in the Levels tool. The other videos are a little bit more specific on dealing with how to draw roofs, interiors, and there is a general navigation training video just to kind of help you get around Sketch in general. So if you need a refresher or you're new to Xactimate, please take a look at those. So let's talk about levels a little bit. So when you open and get a claim and you open up Sketch, you're going to open up typically to a blank screen. You're going to look down to the bottom left and you're going to see down here, it'll say Sketch 1 for you if you have a new claim. I have multiple sketches I've created in here. This is a training claim that I have, so I have multiple sketches here, multiple levels. But you're going to see Sketch 1, main level. So there's two tools here. So what I want you to think of when you're dealing with levels is this tool, this drop-down tool where you can add a new sketch. Think of this tool as adding a new sketch to add a new structure. This tool over here to use this tab, this little plus tab to add a new level, this adds a new level, multiple levels within that structure. So for instance, let's say this structure, you have Sketch 1. We're going to rename this. It's a little icon here. You'll see all these icons here. You can delete the sketch level or rename. We're going to rename Sketch 5 to Dwelling. And then let's say within the dwelling, we want to draw a couple of floors of interior. We have damage and maybe a roof. And we want to put those on different levels within that one building, within the sketch of our dwelling right here. We want to use the levels within that building, the dwelling, right here. So just again, think of this as the building, and these are the levels within the building. So we have the first level. It's defaulted at main level. Let's right click and go to properties, and we can rename this to first floor. And let's say we draw a first floor. We're going to make this very, very quick and easy. We're not going to even put any kind of doors or anything like that. We're just going to draw a quick little first floor. We'll even put a little garage type thing here. Obviously not to scale in any way. We're not going to even label the room. So here's our first floor. This is the level within the dwelling structure. So if we go look at our 3D view, we can see that we have our first floor. Okay, great. Now, let's go and make another level or another floor within the dwelling structure. So we're going to do that by clicking this little plus tab right here. Add a new level. We're going to name this, obviously, second floor. Now we're going to, again, draw our second floor. Yeah, we'll do it a little bit differently. Okay, there's our second floor. We have our structure called the dwelling. We have our first floor in our drawing, our second floor in our drawing. Now let's go look at our 3D view. And we are looking at the second floor right now. This is the highlight. If we go back and look at the first floor, great. We can also look at the last tab, all levels, show all levels. So now we can look at both floors. Great. So let's say we want to add a roof. We can do that. Same way, we're going to add a new level. We can call this roof. Now we're going to grab a roof shape. We'll need to get this off the ground. And we'll add another one over that garage. But let's look. we look at all levels, we'll see that our roof is defaulting at a single story, right? So basically, we're just going to drop this, or rather raise the main roof up. Let's say we want to right click, and let's say we want to go to 18 feet. And then we'll just leave the other roof where it is. It won't be exact, but you'll get the idea. So now let's look at all levels. Of course, we raised this up a little bit too high, but you get the idea of what we're looking at here. So the point is that you want to take away from this is that this drop-down menu, by creating new sketches, is different than creating new levels. Just again, think of this as the structure, each new structure, and then this is the levels within that structure. What a lot of adjusters do, and they don't understand how to use levels properly, is they'll run into a problem where they're only drawing roofs and not interiors, and they will create their levels right here within a certain sketch, and they'll overlap their roofs from different structures, and then that will subtract square counts out of underlying levels. Let's take a look at that and see what happens and why we do not want to use that. So let's get rid of these. Actually, let's just get rid of the entire level, or this entire building. We'll just get rid of the dwelling. We'll start over. Okay, so let's go in and we'll just drop this menu up or down, rather, as you may see, new sketch. We'll label this again, dwelling. So this is kind of what you'll be looking at normally, and what a lot of adjusters will do is they're drawing within the main level here. And if you're only doing one roof and you're not overlapping those with other levels, that's fine. It won't be a problem. But commonly what people may do is this. They'll draw a roof, and they will create another level right here using the interior new level tool. And then they'll label this, say, garage, and they will then draw the garage roof. As you'll notice, because we're working in different levels within the same building, we can see the underlying tracing of the previous level, which is main level. But notice what's happening here is we have this pink area, and what's happening is the overlap of the other level of the garage on top of this is cutting that portion of the roof out on the main level, the house, and it's reducing the square count. So with this subtracting out this pink area, we're at 19.87 squares. Watch what happens if we go to the garage level and move this garage roof off of the other roof where it's not overlapping. Now we're back up to 28.71 squares. So if you don't pay attention to that, so let's say you draw your house and you get it all correct, and then you create another interior level here, and you just start drawing your garage roof or whatever, and you never go back to your main level and notice this pink. You may not even know what that is the first time you see it, but what it's doing is it's an overlap with roofs that's subtracting square count from lower levels. You may not ever know that. You'll go in and write your line items in your estimate in these rooms, and in your main room, the main level, the square count is going to be wrong. It's going to be off. So that's one of the pitfalls of doing that with roofs. It doesn't do that typically with rooms because of the way it's designed. But with roofs, you typically don't want to do it this way. If you're going to create separate levels with roofs, let's delete this, do it using this structure. Again, think of this as the structure, creating new structures. Do it this way. If you'll create a new sketch here, and then relabel that sketch 6 now to garage. Now we don't see any underlying levels. Why? Because it's a completely separate structure. It's completely individualized and separated from that other structure, so we don't see those underlying levels. So just keep that in mind. You don't have to do it this way. You can draw stuff on the same page. It just depends on the carrier you're working for. For instance, one of the things you would do with this other obvious level is if you're drawing interiors and things like that, and you want to use these different interior level tools, name them properly. If you're using a estimating tree like Apex that is a required tree that's already built, these things probably might not make quite as much difference as far as labeling, because you're probably going to be dragging these different sketched rooms and roofs out of the bottom of the estimate and up into the appropriate area into the estimating tree that's given to you by the carrier. If you're, on the other hand, building your own trees or working with a carrier that doesn't have an elaborate type pre-built tree, then you may want to pay more attention to how you're building your levels and how you're labeling these levels and structures, because it will show up with those labels on your estimate. If you do that properly and build your levels and structures properly and name them properly, you will write much better estimates. They'll be easier to read by the insured, their contractors, the PA, your file reviewers. They'll make much more sense. It'll be a much more professional looking estimate. So I hope that helps give you a little bit of understanding on how to use levels. Again, if you need some other training or freshening up on some of the other aspects of using Sketch, please take a look at the other training videos. If you have any questions, always call your claims manager or your account supervisor, and they'll be more than happy to help you. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you on the next training video.